That light's pretty distracting.
Yeah, you wouldn't be looking into it, so. You'd be looking at me in the chair.
You want me to shut that door to get the outside noise gone?
That'll be fine, yeah.
All right.
And this microphone will be for you, and you can put it up the t-shirt.
Sure.
Just put it on your shirt collar.
Okay. Position good? I don't know if,
yeah, that's good. You know what? I'm thinking, I don't know if we'll need that.
Okay.
So if you want to just take that down, that's fine.
Do my auxiliary podcast from here, so I do this. There's a little computer studio back there, so.
Okay.
But.
Also, you film the video in here?
No,
Oh, okay.
I do other podcasts here.
Oh, all right.
So I have two locations in case.
The other one was at the house, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Alternate angles.
Yeah, I like playing around with some different angles here.
You need a tripod? Does that thing have a fit for a tripod or no?
Does this thing have a, no, it doesn't really have a tripod.
Okay. See, I've got like two of them over there.
Alright, let's just make sure this.
you need additional, just going for.
What's going on here? Yeah, we're good there. So you've been a common council member. This is your first and only term?
No, it's my second term.
Second term? Okay.
Yep. November is the election for my third term.
Okay.
So 4 years.
They're
by January.
So they're 2-year terms?
Yes.
Okay.
There's 7 wards in the city. Each ward has an alderman that sit on the common council.
So you've been on common council for
Almost 4 years.
4 years?
Yep.
Okay. You do plan on running for re-election?
I do.
Okay. All right, so I know who you are, but just for, the interview, we always like to just ask the first and last name. So, Kevin Doherty.
Yeah, I'm Kevin Doherty, the alderman of the 4th ward of the city of Olean, and family and father of 4.
Okay. So we are, of course, talking about the video that was posted and the content of that video. It's not every day that a lawmaker, goes on YouTube or really anywhere and publicly puts out some video of them smoking marijuana, which still is illegal, and making some comments that could be seen as certainly offensive or controversial. So the video in itself, when was it recorded and where?
It was recorded at my house on Saturday, April 20th, 4/20.
Okay.
So,
and that particular YouTube channel, how long have you had it, and how often is it updated with video?
I've been trying to get at least one video a week up on the channel, and it's been going since, I want to say 2016, 2015, somewhere in there. I started the channel as like a hobby, and I always got a lot of crazy stuff going on in my life, so I started a YouTube channel. I see tons of other people out there that have a YouTube channel. They're feeding their kids breakfast in the morning, reading them a bedtime story. It's like, wow, these guys are filming. It's like EdTV, right? They're just filming their whole lives. So that's how I kind of started it. And put a few videos out, and then kind of went stagnant for a little bit, and then figured it'd be a good use of my recreation to voice my opinion. People would attack me, or I had an opinion on an issue. I would use that as a better conveyance of my thoughts, ideas, and opinions.
Okay, so on the legalization of recreational marijuana, I'm curious on why the protest, if this is something that lawmakers have already said that they're working on and they're trying to pass legislation this year. Why the protest if this is something that lawmakers say they're already working on?
Lawmakers say a lot, right? They say they're going to lower your taxes, they're going to fix this, they're going to fix that, they're going to do this. A lot of times the protest is not just a push when there is tons of resistance, but helps with the tipping point when it comes to actually making people do their business or get off the pot.
So, but smoking marijuana, as you know, is still illegal. So why do it? Why explicitly break the law to prove a point?
I don't think there's any better way to prove a point. Not that my cause is any better than any other ones. During the Civil Rights Movement, if they had a sit-in in a place they weren't supposed to be, They did it. Was it breaking the law? Yes. Were they exercising their right to protest? Of course. But there were laws in place that prohibited them from being where they're supposed to. Activists that want to save, different trees, chain themselves to a tree in a city park that they don't want torn down. Are they supposed to be there on public property, chaining themselves up to a tree? No, of course not. But what better way to get the point across that that their point matters than to put themselves on the line?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you did make reference in our interview about Martin Luther King Jr., of course, a civil rights leader.
Sure, and
so how is this? This isn't civil rights.
Right. I bring him up. He's a very good example. I'm not. That's why I keep saying it's the point of making marijuana legalized is not the same severity of a struggle, but it falls in the same category. It might be lower on the spectrum compared to human rights, but I mean it should be everybody's right. Prior to the 1940s, marijuana was legal. It was one lobby group trying to corner the market for their business.
Right, but Martin Luther King Jr. was fighting for peace and for good in this world. That's what he was fighting for. So how is this anywhere close to that?
I used it as an example in reference to the law breaking, right? Like there was laws that African Americans couldn't use whites-only water fountains. That's not the case today. Had they not broken the law when they did to make the point, we might still be in a world of civil injustice.
Right, but you cited Martin Luther King Jr. in breaking the law, and ultimately what he was trying to fight for was a better world. How is this, in terms of breaking the law, trying to fight for civil rights or anything that
I'm not saying it's on the
profound?
same. I'm saying it's not on the same scale, but there shouldn't be any law on the books that makes this illegal. This is the same as any other plant that comes out of the ground. You make alcohol, right, from grains, and you sparge them and break them into sugars. You add a little yeast, just like baking bread, and now you have something that can be used as a local anesthetic. If you have a wound, you can drink it to numb maybe you have joint pain. You can drink it. Marijuana has the same similar effects. There's no outrageous effects, horrible addiction, things like that would come from maybe more hardcore drugs like cocaine or heroin, or half the products they add into cigarettes are the addictive ones. Tobacco isn't as addictive as all the formaldehyde, the preservatives and things like that.
Mm-hmm. So, but marijuana is still illegal. It's still a controlled substance. Have you heard from police, or has anyone contacted you from Olean police about possibly an investigation or them looking into the video? Has any contact been made from police?
As of this time, I haven't heard anything from the local authorities. The most I've heard is speculation from the news outlets.
Okay, so we've already heard from people who are not in support of the video, the Common Council president in particular. Do you have any regrets whatsoever?
No, I'm. As I said, this YouTube channel is me being me, expressing my opinions, just being myself. So, I regret being myself, and that's what people vote for. People are voting. They're not supposed to vote for the guy who's nice combed hair and has the nice beautiful family and doesn't say anything off color and I mean you can vote for that guy if you share the same religious views and all those other things, and he looks nice, but he's probably living a double life. It's the guy that is showing you everything. This is what makes me me, and that's what I feel that people are voting on. They're voting on me, and how I act and how I behave is how I also make decisions. And so, if you look at my track record for decision making amongst the resolutions of the Common Council, different opinions I might have on my YouTube channel, you can look at that and say, listen, he's right on par for how I believe on this issue, and this issue. You're never going to have one politician that believes everything that you do. You're going to have some differentiation. So,
do you think though about how kids or youth could look at the video and that this could be a distraction for them? Like, do you think are you at all concerned about how this could set a bad example for younger people?
Well, if marijuana was legal, and with whatever age restrictions they add to it once they legalize it, they would, once they hit that age, they're free to make whatever choices they want. To say that it's a bad thing because it's illegal, well, I mean, you've got a point, but once they make it illegal, or once they make it legal again, then now it's just like anything else. Is it setting a bad example to eat tomatoes in front of the kids? If I smoke a cigarette, which is legal for a person of my age, is that going to draw kids to go start smoking cigarettes?
Yeah, I'm not sure I understand that, but what I'm saying is that if there's a teen out there or anyone, you know, who's younger, who's looking at the video and says, you know, look, there's a lawmaker right there who's breaking the law, I guess I can go out there and break the law too. Like, are you concerned at all about this setting a bad example?
I don't see it that way. I would promote any citizen out there, youth or adult, if they find that a law is arbitrary. Like, I don't want to. I think that this spending of my tax dollars is inappropriate, and they choose not to pay their taxes in protest. They can do that. There are consequences, but it's the perfect exercise of your constitutional rights. And if there's an issue worth having a black mark on your criminal record or what have you, I mean, that's a sacrifice that people have to make to ensure your freedoms. No one's dying for these freedoms, but today, you know, in that scenario, but it's another way to protest. I mean, that's.
But isn't all this within reason, right? I mean, if people find that a law is arbitrary and they don't want to follow law, I mean, what kind of world would we live in if people just always broke the law?
I don't think it's if the law is severe enough. I'm not saying that you should go out and break every law that you don't like. That's if there's points that have to be made, and that's what a protest is. You don't if you're protesting everything, people stop listening to you and they just haul you off to jail for breaking all the laws. That's there's
so certain laws can be broken, but other laws shouldn't be. Is that what it is?
No.
This is okay to break marijuana possession.
No, yeah, I'm saying that I'm taking a stance on this, and that's the law that I've chosen to break. I mean, no one would side with me if I broke a law, you know, first-degree murder, right? Nobody would side with me, and I don't see any point in someone protesting that. So I'm not inciting people to go commit murder. This is it's a simple traffic infraction in New York State. It's a slap on the wrist. Your first offense is a 6-month ACD, which is a probationary period, and no fine. So if it's going to be legalized anyways, I don't see what the big deal is that people should be up in arms about inciting breaking the law.
So there's more to the video as it goes on. There are some jokes that are made about the Notre Dame Cathedral burning. Of course, that's a sacred place for many. Why joke about that?
We were talking about the news, and given the circumstances, there was I think as in our prior conversation, you pointed out that there was laughter, and I mean, I was high, so I mean, giggling is a side effect. But we were pointing out, you know, hey, I would hate to be the insurance adjuster on this claim case, right? Like it's a really crummy situation to be in if you're the insurance.
That's not what you were saying. That if you were the insurance adjuster, it would be a tough job to do. You know, you were joking about, you know, if I was the insurance adjuster, I could just slap some windows together and you have another Notre Dame. Well, that's what you said.
Right. Well, I'm a contractor, so when a stone building burns, I mean, there's a little mortar repair, and you slap some new windows in and put a new roof on it. Like, it stinks that it's a sacred building, but I try to add a little levity to things, right? So it's not a hard repair. Roof trusses don't cost that much money. Most of the roof structure was wooden. Just pointing it out. Now, given that I was high, I mean, it may not have come across that way, and there may have been a lot of giggling. At the other same expense, Christianity is all about giving back to the poor. Yet they're spending billions of dollars rebuilding a cathedral. I understand the cathedral is a symbol, but wouldn't that money be better spent, securing the building so it doesn't fall, and then not a safety hazard, and then using that money to give back to the poor?
So you have a secret building here, though, that you're joking about. You're joking about the fire, and you're joking about that it could just be slapped together. I mean, don't you see that that could be hurtful to many?
I can see that, and I don't, as I said in our prior conversation, I was in the room. I haven't actually gone back and watched my own video. I know I was there. My memory escapes me to some of the instances in the video, like the jokes you're describing.
Okay, but in this interview right here, right now, is that something that you apologize for at all?
For maybe making an off-color joke about, or even just pointing some levity at a situation. We weren't joking about loss of life, were we?
No, but it's a sacred place that people cherish. I mean, why would you even joke about that and think that it's just
right? But I think our definition of the word
just a crummy building that you could just fix up.
It's not a crummy building. I'm saying it's. I think yours and my definition of the word joke could be a little different. You say joking, and I say I'm pointing out something that somebody else did not point out, right? Like, I would hate to be the insurance adjuster. I don't see why it would be that hard to repair the building, right? Things like that. Other people aren't pointing that out. They're like, oh, geez, what a loss. Well, great. Well, let's not focus on the sadness. Let's focus on progress and moving forward.
Right, but you were joking about how this had even happened, and then you were joking about how it would just be easy just to slap this together when this is an ancient place.
Right, well, I'm not going to find ancient wood lying around, so I mean, the quickest way to do it is to frame up new windows.
And then you also had mentioned that essentially there's like this deception that people have been told all their lives that this place was even important.
Okay, as I said, I'm remembering bits and pieces. So
you plan on maybe re-watching that to get a better glimpse of,
sure,
you know, how it could be hurtful to other people?
Sure, I can re-watch what my video entailed and see how it could be hurtful to other people. But I mean, there's a lot of things that you can do that could be hurtful.
Right, but you're a lawmaker. You're supposed to be representing the people. So how does this even represent the people?
It represents my opinions, and so anything that I say or I can mull over and see, you could have a thought on something one day and new information occurs and your thought processes evolve and things like that, and then you may have a different opinion. Well, people are voting for me as a lawmaker because of how I act, how I respond, how I make decisions, who I am as a person. And if, as long as I'm being honest with them as a person, if they don't choose to elect me because they don't see eye to eye with my decision making or any of the opinions that I have, then that's fine. They can elect the next guy, and I wish the best to the next guy. If they do agree with me, they'll vote me in November. That's
how all elections work. So, and then there's more to the video, of course. We never see the person who's on the other side of the camera. We only see you. I mean, is that a friend? We hear that person, so I just...
It was Tim the bartender. He's been a contributor on my channel in the past. I just didn't have an extra camera in my office that day. We moved it to our other location.
So Tim the bartender, he is what, a friend or just a colleague?
He's a friend.
Okay. Yeah. So a comment is made about, you know, because there's alcohol and there's marijuana smoking going on, you know, there's a comment made that your eyes are closing, and you say konnichiwa, a Japanese greeting. So could you see how that could be viewed as racist and hurtful?
Sure, I could see how that could be. That wasn't the intent of it.
Do you apologize at all?
If it offended anybody, I apologize. But I mean, I'd spend my whole life apologizing for everything that I did if somebody got offended. I mean, the one thing I've learned in becoming a lawmaker is that you're never going to make everybody happy. So
what I get from this entire video, breaking the law, hurtful to Catholics and many others who have seen or have been hurt by that cathedral fire, and also racially insensitive comments, or at least one comment. Do you think that you're fit to be an elected official?
That's what the people are there to do. They're there to decide. So
right, but do you feel like you should be in government? and city government, representing people.
Yes, of course. I do the best job I can for my city. I put my best foot forward. And I'm true to myself, and that's all that really matters. I'm true to my family. I'm true to my city, and the voters.
Shouldn't you be working on behalf of the taxpayer, actually doing something, doing constructive work rather than sitting at home smoking weed?
One day out of the year, one afternoon, I was working from about 8:30 in the morning to about 8:45 at night for a customer. So I mean, I was out working all day, and I planned to do this video. It was 4:20. I hadn't done anything all day, and I also needed to unwind. So I figured this was a perfect way to.
What have you accomplished as a common council member? What have you done?
We've been fighting against blight since I took office. Blight is a cancer that's scourging the nation, so it's very difficult to attack it all in one session. But we've made great strides. I've worked with the Common Council. We've took down numerous unsafe homes that were in need of repair or due to collapse. I was instrumental in helping write the rental inspection law. Rental properties are offered to the public just like a restaurant is. The public comes in, they rent the space. They should be entitled to safe habitation. Most of the time, people buy a car. You might buy a car and you don't know how to fix it, or you don't know any of the safety features that might malfunction. Well, the person who's selling you the car should know, or should employ someone to maintain that before you purchase it, and that's what a landlord should do, and that's why we created these inspection laws, to make sure they have smoke detectors in case the house does catch on fire. It's inevitable. Given a long enough timeline, everything will catch on fire or have some sort of issue. Carbon monoxide boilers are known to split down their heat exchanger, and then the house floods with carbon monoxide. Without a carbon monoxide detector, you won't know, and
It seems like you're citing things, though, that maybe you've worked with other common council members on. What have you personally accomplished?
I personally accomplished that. I sat down with the city attorney and we wrote that law page for page, and then I presented it to the Common Council.
Do you plan to keep that video up?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. And have you've heard from people who have been critical of the video, right?
I've heard of a few, and I've gotten a lot of other comments in support. So
a lot of comments in support, and we've seen that too. And but from the people who have not been in support, who have you heard from specifically? Just voters, or the Common Council president, other colleagues on the Common Council?
I've heard from one or two voters, and president of the Common Council. I've been in touch with him, but.
And who's been in support? Other voters, or
other voters. Residents in other wards that would vote for other Common Council members, people that used to live in this city that no longer do, but this is their hometown, neighbors, friends, family have reached out to me, other elected officials.
Okay. And you were the owner of this coffee shop here too?
Yeah.
Okay. So being a Common Council member, you got a stipend? Is that just all volunteer? Or?
It feels like volunteer. It is just a stipend though. So okay. For the public service.
All right. So this is your main job, 9 to 5 job, or whenever you're.
I'm a contractor by trade. So.
Okay. So, but your Common Council work, is that like at the bottom of the list? How high of a priority is being a Common Council member?
I want to say between calls I get from constituents about issues they're having in the ward, to budgetary comments, to the weekly meetings we have, I put in at least 20 hours a week. So if you break down the stipend, it ends up being like $1.50 an hour. And it is one of my high priorities, because I wouldn't dedicate 20 hours a week to answering phone calls, replying to emails, doing my due diligence if I didn't care.
Okay. All right. Anything else that I may be missing?
No. I think that's it.
All right. Thank you.
Guys, we're awfully focused on a lot of the negatives.
Well, it's a matter of, getting your responses.
Sure.
All right, let me just get some video of you around here. That works.
Sure. You don't need audio for that yet?
No, you can take it off. Thanks.
Would you like me to make some coffee?
Yeah, you could do that. When did you open?
We actually had an employee quit on us, and it was the slow season, so we've temporarily suspended our hours probably until the spring or late spring, early summer. We're part of the farmers market, so we supply coffee at the farmers market. And we've been doing special events, kids video game tournaments. We've had good turnouts. Planning on getting maybe a beer and wine license. Anything specific you think I should you want me to do for your clips?
Nope.
Did you want a cup of coffee?
I'm alright, thank you.
Okay.
So I know I asked you about the community walk comment. I probably should have went a little bit further. You don't promote yourself. You don't think you're a racist, right?
I don't promote myself as one. No.
All right. So you're not a racist, right?
Correct. Okay. If you watch any of my previous videos, a lot of people, I've gotten called a racist before. There was a lady, I'm putting in the African American Center for Cultural Development on top. I'm working with their board of directors. They're purchasing the building. I helped them write a grant. And one of their board of directors, 76-year-old African American woman, didn't want to have me help because of me being white, and then she accused me of being racist and said that I would never understand the culture. And I said, listen, I'm helping because you guys.
Why does she think you were a racist? Just because you're white?
Yeah, she's also, when she resigned, she tried to tell the newspaper that she was that the bank wouldn't lend them money because she was black. And,
okay.
And it was one of those things. It's like, no, we're working on fundraising efforts. You don't have $150,000 in your not-for-profit bank account, you know. But everybody else on the board has been working with us great. And I mean, even the executive director, she goes, I can't believe she tried to call you racist to the newspaper. Your stepdaughter's half African American. Like, clearly you're not a racist. You know what I mean? Like I know. But
okay, all right. I just wanted to clarify that.
But yeah, I mean, nowadays everybody's under the microscope though, and everything's a stone being thrown, you know.
Sure.
I need the opportunity to set up this new tablet anyways.
All right, I think that'll just about do it, unless you have any questions for me.
No?
Okay, cool.
I get it for you.
All
Rings lit up.
right. Yep, that's good. All right, thank you so much.
No problem. It was nice meeting you.